I just spent 6 weeks and over $8,000 buying, testing, and returning TVs. And I'm going to save you from making the single most expensive mistake you can make in a living room right now. Because here's what the big box stores don't want you to know. We are living in the golden age of Mini-LED technology, and most people have absolutely no idea what that actually means for their wallet. Mini-LED isn't just a marketing buzzword. It's a fundamental shift in how TVs produce light. And the 5 TVs I'm about to show you prove that you don't need to spend $3,000 to get a picture that will genuinely make your jaw drop. But here's the catch. There's one on this list that almost didn't make it because of a firmware issue that tanked its performance out of the box. I'll tell you exactly which one and what you need to do to fix it. I tested every single TV in this video in the same room, with the same calibration tools, with the same content. Sports, 4K HDR films, dark sci-fi, bright sitcoms, competitive gaming. If a TV lied to me, I caught it, and a few of them absolutely lied. Let's count them down. Number 5, TCL QM6K, the best budget entry point into Mini-LED. I want to be upfront about something. A year ago, I would have told you to avoid budget Mini-LED entirely. The local dimming was garbage, the blooming was embarrassing, and manufacturers were basically sticking the Mini-LED label on panels that didn't deserve it. The QM6K changes that conversation. At around $600 for the 65-inch, this TV does something that should not be possible at this price. It actually controls its dimming zones intelligently. TCL is running over 1,000 local dimming zones here, and in real-world use, the blooming around bright objects on dark backgrounds is minimal, not invisible, minimal. There's a difference, and at this price, minimal is genuinely impressive. The peak brightness hit 1,400 nits in my testing, which is more than enough to make HDR content pop in a bright living room. The color volume is wide. The built-in Google TV interface is clean and fast, and gaming mode drops input lag down to around 9 milliseconds. For casual gamers, that's more than sufficient. Here's the honest problem though. The out-of-box picture settings are terrible. Whoever calibrated the factory mode deserves a stern email. You need to switch it to cinema or filmmaker mode the moment you turn it on, or you're watching a TV that looks like it's having an identity crisis. Once you do that though, this TV over-delivers at every price comparison you'll make. If you're stepping into Mini-LED for the first time and you don't want to spend $1,000 finding out if you even care about it, the QM6K is your entry point. For everything else, keep watching. Number 4, Hisense U8QG, the best value TV on this entire list. Let me be direct. If your budget tops out around $900 and you want the closest thing to a flagship experience without the flagship price, this is the TV you buy. Full stop. The U8QG delivers peak brightness numbers that made me check my meter twice. We're talking 2,500 nits in my testing. That's not a spec sheet claim. I measured it with a calibration tool on a 10% window. For perspective, that's brighter than TVs that cost 3 times as much. In a room flooded with afternoon sunlight, this TV fights back and wins. The Mini-LED implementation here is exceptional. Hisense has packed in a dense grid of dimming zones, and their processing engine, High-View Engine Pro, actually knows how to use them. The contrast between bright highlights and deep shadows in HDR content is stunning. I watched the opening sequence of Blade Runner 2049 on this TV and had to remind myself this wasn't a flagship OLED. Gaming performance is legitimately great. You get 4K at 144 Hz with HDMI 2.1, VRR support, AMD FreeSync Premium, and an input lag that competitive players will actually care about. If you're running a PS5 or a high-end PC, this TV keeps up. The flaw? The built-in speakers are genuinely bad. Not just okay for a TV bad, actively thin and disappointing bad. If you're not connecting a soundbar or a receiver, you're undercutting everything this panel delivers visually. Budget at least $150 for audio alongside this purchase, and you'll have a setup that punches so far above its combined price, it's almost embarrassing. The U8QG is the TV I recommend to most people who ask me for a recommendation. Not because it wins every category. It doesn't. But because the gap between what it costs and what it delivers is wider than anything else on this list. Number 3, TCL QM8K, the best TV for big screen buyers. At 85 inches, something changes. You stop watching TV and start experiencing it. And the QM8K at that size is an argument that you should never have bought anything smaller. TCL's QM8K is the serious step up within their own lineup, and the difference from the QM6K is not subtle. You're getting significantly improved local dimming, better color processing, and a build quality that finally matches the picture quality. The stand design alone communicates that this is a different category of product. The brightness hits around 2000 nits. The black levels are genuinely impressive for a mini LED panel, where the QM6K struggles slightly with complex scenes that mix very bright and very dark elements simultaneously. The QM8K handles them with noticeably more confidence. Sports content in particular, the kind of content that exposes processing weaknesses fast, looks phenomenal. Fast motion, bright jerseys, dark stadium backgrounds. The QM8K doesn't sweat it. The Dolby Vision and HDR10+ support are both present and both processed well. You're not choosing between formats with this TV, which matters more than people realize when you're building a long-term setup. Here's the critical context though. At 75 inches and below, the value proposition of the QM8K over the U8QG starts to blur. You're paying a significant premium for improvements that are real but harder to justify at smaller sizes. At 85 inches and above, the QM8K earns every dollar. If you're going big, and I mean genuinely big, this is where the list starts to get interesting for you specifically. Number 2. Samsung QN90F, the best TV for bright rooms and gamers. Samsung has been refining their Neo QLED technology for years, and the QN90F is the result of all that iteration arriving in a package that's nearly impossible to criticize in two very specific use cases. First, bright rooms. If you're mounting a TV above a fireplace, in a sunroom, in a kitchen, or anywhere that natural light is going to fight with your display, the QN90F wins. The anti-glare coating on this panel is genuinely the best I have tested. I pointed a lamp directly at it at a 45-degree angle during testing. The reflection was diffuse, manageable, and didn't destroy the image. On other TVs in this list, that same test produced a distracting hotspot. Samsung solved this. Second, gaming. The QN90F supports 4K at 144 Hz across all 4 HDMI ports. Not just one or two, all 4. VRR works correctly. The input lag in game mode is around 5.8 milliseconds, which is the kind of number that competitive console players and PC gamers actually care about. The response time on the panel itself handles fast-moving content without the trailing artifacts that cheaper mini LED panels can't hide. The picture quality in normal viewing is excellent. Peak brightness lands around 2,200 nits. The local dimming is controlled and intelligent. Color accuracy out of the box is better than most competitors, and after calibration, it's exceptional. The honest weakness is value. You're paying a Samsung premium here, and some of that premium is brand name, not performance. The Hisense U8QG gets surprisingly close in pure picture quality for a few $100s less. But if your room is bright, if you're a serious gamer, or if you simply want the most polished, reliable, and comprehensively supported smart TV experience, money can buy at this tier. The QN90F justifies itself. Number 1. Sony BRAVIA 9, the best overall mini LED TV you can buy. I want to tell you something about the BRAVIA 9 that no spec sheet will ever communicate. There is a quality to the image processing that is simply different from everything else on this list. Not marginally better, categorically different. Sony's XR cognitive processor doesn't just control brightness and color. It analyzes the content you're watching and adjusts the picture processing based on what type of scene is actually on screen. Action sequence? It handles motion differently than a quiet dialogue scene. Skin tones in one corner of the frame? It treats that area differently than the sky behind the subject. This sounds like marketing language. It is not. The difference is visible, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. The BRAVIA 9 achieves something rare in mini LED. Near OLED black levels combined with brightness that no OLED can touch. Peak brightness in HDR hit 3,000 nits in my testing. Blacks measured as deep as anything short of an actual self-emissive panel. That combination, extreme brightness and extreme darkness simultaneously in the same frame, is what makes HDR content on this TV look like nothing else in the category. The audio system is built in partnership with Sony's own sound engineering team, and it shows. The acoustic multi-audio system fires sound from multiple points in the frame, creating a convincing sense of audio coming from where you're actually looking. You still probably want a proper soundbar for serious home theater use, but the built-in system embarrasses every other TV on this list. Gaming, HDMI 2.1 with 4K at 120 Hz, VRR, and auto low latency mode. Not quite at Samsung's level for competitive gaming, but for cinematic single-player experiences, the BRAVIA 9 is the best screen you can possibly sit in front of. The price is real. You're spending significantly more than the Hisense and TCL options. And if budget is the primary constraint, the BRAVIA 9 is not your TV. But if you're asking what the absolute best mini-LED television delivers in 2025, this is your answer. It's not close.